My name is Claire Mitchell. I'm 30 years old, and I pay my bills by thinking through worst-case outcomes for a fintech company in Denver. Still, nothing I'd ever modeled at work came close to the 10-second voicemail that detonated my family. It landed on a Tuesday afternoon, right in the gap between a risk analysis and a mug of coffee gone cold. I hit play and heard my mom's voice, calm and transactional, like she was ending a service plan, not cutting off her daughter. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving on without you." No context, no feeling, just a final call. For a moment, I froze, my pulse thudding so loud it felt internal. Then the same part of my mind that safeguards other people's assets all day slid quietly into place. I didn't return the call. I didn't debate it. I sent one short text. "Okay." And then I acted first. I signed into the family LLC I had created from nothing, the one that held our rentals and the triplex we were days away from closing on, and I shut down every permission tied to my name. No more contracts using my credit. No transfers without my sign-off. After that, I called the realtor and removed myself from the house deal they were relying on. House dealed. Last, I locked the retirement account framework I had organized for them so nothing could be altered or emptied without me. By the time my coffee was gone, every smooth path they had through me was gone too. I assumed that was the end of it. Instead, by the next morning, my phone showed 46 missed calls and a voicemail from their attorney saying, "We have a serious problem." I actually laughed at that and typed my response, because they didn't realize the problem wasn't my absence. It was what I walked away with. Stay with me until the end, and you'll see how one icy voicemail turned into a family revenge story where the person they tried to erase ended up holding every card. The next morning, I woke to my phone vibrating itself toward the edge of the nightstand. For a split second, I thought it was my alarm. Then I saw the screen. 46 missed calls. Mom, Dad, blocked numbers. One from a law firm I knew. The newest alert was a voicemail from their lawyer. I put in my earbuds and pressed play while the coffee maker warmed up. "This is Evan Coleman, counsel for Mark and Diane Mitchell. Claire, we need to talk. This is serious. Please call me back as soon as possible." His tone had that tight edge lawyers get when they realize their clients skipped key facts. I let it finish and stared at the wall, listening to the coffee drip. My phone kept lighting up with new messages from my mom. "Claire, this is just a misunderstanding. Call me. We need to talk." From Dad. "Kiddo, whatever happened, we can fix this. Please call us back." Then another from Mom. "We didn't mean it like that. We were upset. Come home so we can explain." I almost smiled, because yesterday there had been zero ambiguity in her voice. "You're out. Don't come back. We're moving forward without you." That sounded crystal clear to me. I kept scrolling, half waiting for Brooke's name to pop up somewhere in the stream. Nothing. Not one text or missed call from my younger sister, who normally blew up the family group chat over literally nothing. For someone who thrived on attention, she was strangely silent. As the coffee finished brewing, I opened the building security app and pulled up the front entrance camera, almost without thinking. The screen showed a clip from earlier that morning. My dad was standing outside the glass doors of my apartment building, hands buried deep in his coat pockets, staring up at the second floor where my unit was. Snorts, he glanced at his phone, paused like he might buzz in, then turned around and left. No call, no knock, just backing off. My chest tightened for a split second, then I shoved the feeling down. When people show you how easily they can cut you off, you do not rush to comfort them when the blade swings back their way. On the commute to work, my phone kept buzzing in my bag. I ignored it. At my desk, I finally sent 3 short replies to my mom. "I'm safe. I need time to Dad. I heard the voicemail. I'm not ready to talk to the lawyer. I received your message. I will respond in writing. That was all they were getting. Right before lunch, my coworker Jenna rolled her chair over, dropping her voice. You have been staring at that screen like you are about to blow it up. She said, everything okay at home? I almost said yes out of reflex, then stopped. Not really. My parents decided I am out of the family business. Her eyebrows shot up. Do they realize you are the family business? I shrugged. They left a voicemail. I locked things down. Now their lawyer is involved. Jenna let out a low whistle. Look, I am not telling you what to do, but you know how this goes. The second money is involved. Everybody starts performing. If you make moves out of guilt, they will spin that into you admitting fault. Make sure every decision you make is something you'd be fine explaining to a judge one day. I nodded. That part one understood better than anyone. Risk management was literally my job. I had spent years building systems so people could not quietly move money around behind each other's backs. And now I was realizing I had built the perfect system to stop my own family from doing the same thing to me. As I walked to the break room to refill my coffee, my phone buzzed again. A fresh message popped up from a number I did not recognize. Heard you backed out of the triplex because you are overwhelmed. You okay? It was from a cousin on my dad's side. Overwhelmed? That was never my word. It sounded exactly like something Brooke would say while dabbing at imaginary tears. Everything started clicking in my head. The timing of her getting laid off from that marketing job. The way she suddenly tossed around lines like streamline the LLC and free up equity at Sunday dinners, like she had ever given a damn about spreadsheets before. And the fact that she was the only one staying quiet now, like a puppeteer who had already yanked the strings and was waiting in the wings to watch it play out. I stared at my phone as a clean, sharp edge of anger slid into place, cold and precise. If Brooke was behind this, if she really thought she could push me out of what I built and step into my spot while our parents nodded along, then she picked the wrong sister to start a money war with. 2 days later, I tried to act normal by doing something painfully basic. I went to my usual local coffee shop. The one I always hit on Saturdays. The kind of place where the barista knows your order and the regulars debate hiking trails and housing prices. I had just grabbed my latte when I heard my name. Claire. Hey. I turned and saw Tom Reynolds, one of my dad's old friends from the garage where he used to work. He clapped my shoulder like nothing was off. Heard about the triplex? He said, dropping his voice like he was sharing inside info. Rough situation. I frowned. What about it? He grimaced. Just what your mom and Brooke were saying in the family group chat. That you backed out because work stress got to you. That you were overwhelmed and it was not a good time for you mentally. He said mentally the way people do when they are scared to say breakdown. My jaw clenched. Overwhelmed. There it was again. I forced a smile so tight it almost cracked. Yeah, well, you know how rumors travel, I said. Tom patted my arm, told me to take care of myself, and drifted over to the sugar counter. I walked out before my face gave away what I was actually feeling. Outside in the cold Denver air, I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my messages. Not a single call from Brooke, not one text, yet she had no problem telling extended family I was too unstable to handle a house deal I had practically designed. That was not gossip. That was setup. Sitting in my car, I opened my contacts and tapped a name I had not touched in months. Daniel Hayes, the financial advisor who helped me build the original structure for our family LLC before my parents, under Brooke's influence, swapped him out for someone newer and flashier. Daniel answered on the second ring. Claire, that's unexpected, he said. Still keeping people out of messes. Trying to, I replied, I need to ask you something. Has anyone attempted to adjust ownership percentages in Mitchell Holdings LLC lately? There was a brief silence, the kind where you can tell someone just sat up straighter. I've seen a few draft papers pass by. He spoke carefully. Your mom brought up a new advisor, asked some what-if questions, but I noticed language about adding another family member as a managing member, and your signature line was empty. It didn't look clean, so I told her nothing could move forward without you. My hands clenched around the steering wheel. Another family member, Brooke. Obviously. Did any of it actually happen? I asked. No, he said. The documents weren't complete and honestly looked questionable. But Claire, if someone's trying to slip into control of your LLC through the back door, you need to get in front of it. I thanked him, ended the call, and stared at the dashboard for a long second. I thought about the voicemail saying I was out. I thought about Tom repeating the word overwhelmed. I thought about my mom suddenly wanting a new advisor right after Brooke lost her job. This wasn't random. It was a plan built on weak legal footing with a heavy layer of emotional pressure. As I sat there, a new alert popped up from Brooke. Finally. What do you think you're doing, Claire? Pulling out of the house deal, freaking everyone out, locking down accounts. This is a mess, and you are making it worse. For a moment, my fingers hovered over the keys. I almost dumped everything swirling in my head. Instead, I erased the draft and opened my email. First, I wrote the real estate agent. Per our conversation, please consider this written confirmation that I have withdrawn from the Mitchell Triplex purchase as a borrower and primary qualifier. Any further representation that I am participating in this transaction is inaccurate and unauthorized. Then I requested a formal cancellation notice be sent to my parents with their lawyer copied. Next, I started a new message. This one was to Brooke, but written the same way I'd send any risk escalation at work. Brooke, this email serves as formal notice that any attempt to alter ownership, signature authority, or financial structure related to Mitchell Holdings LLC, its associated properties, or retirement accounts without my written consent is unauthorized and may constitute fraud. Do not sign my name. Do not imply my approval. Any such action will be documented and shared with legal counsel. Claire. No yelling, no insults, just facts and consequences. I sent it, then placed my phone face down on the passenger seat. By the time I got home, my call log showed 6 more attempts from Mom, 3 from Dad, none from Brooke. Inside my apartment, I opened my laptop and created a new folder labeled Family Risk File. I pulled in screenshots of messages, the lawyer's voicemail, Daniel's scribbles, the email I'd just sent. Every step, every lie, every try to frame me as unstable went straight in. Because if Brooke was spinning a version where I was the issue, where I was the weak link to be removed so she could step in, then I was going to tell a stronger version, one backed by timestamps and proof. I couldn't help thinking as the files stacked up on my screen how many families fall apart like this because one person cares less about truth than about playing the victim they've practiced being their whole life. 3 days later, an unfamiliar number lit up my phone while I was buried in a spreadsheet. I almost let it roll to voicemail until I noticed the firm name. This is Claire. Hi, Claire. This is Jason Liu, your parents' new financial advisor, he said. I just need to review some inconsistencies in the Mitchell retirement setup. That word made me straighten up. He said he'd been auditing the LLC and retirement accounts and found draft paperwork adding Brooke as a co-trustee or managing member with my name listed as approving changes, but no real signature from me. To be clear, Jason, I have not approved anything. I said, I haven't signed a thing since the day and I set it up. Jason exhaled. I figured your family believes you stepped back and that these changes reflect what you want. The word overwhelmed came up. From a compliance angle, I needed your confirmation. Treat every request as unauthorized unless you see my live signature. I told him, if someone claims otherwise, ask for written proof. You won't get any. After we hung up, my cousin Megan called. Are you okay? She rushed out. Because the way Brooke has been talking, it sounds like you are falling apart. I asked what Brooke was actually saying. That you pulled out of the triplex because of anxiety? That you hoard control of the LLC? That you threatened to cut mom and dad off financially, Megan said. Now she's posting about abusive power in families. None of that is true, I said. Megan dropped her voice. I didn't think so. It doesn't match the Claire who paid for their roof. I just wanted you to know what was being said. Thanks. Screenshot if you feel like it. Otherwise, don't feed her audience. We ended the call. A moment later, an email chain landed in my inbox. Subject: Mitchell Triplex Purchase Update. It was from our agent Susan with my parents Brooke and Evan, the lawyer copied. Quoted beneath her reply was Brooke's message. Susan, as we discussed, Claire has pulled out due to personal mental health struggles. We need to move forward without her. Please respect her limitations, Brooke had written, sounding so compassionate it made my skin crawl. Susan's actual response was sharp. Thank you, Brooke. For liability, I'll need written confirmation directly from Claire and will pause the file for now. I started typing before the anger cooled. Hi Susan, I wrote. Attached is my written notice of withdrawal from 2 days earlier along with the pre-approval paperwork. I am not stepping away because of mental health issues. I am stepping away because I no longer agree to my name, credit, or income being used given the current family situation. Any other explanation of my choice is incorrect. Thanks for putting the file on hold. Claire, I looped in Evan and Jason and attached everything showing I had been leading from day one. Susan, snorts, replied fast to the smaller thread. Understood. I will disregard Brooke's earlier message and only follow directions that come from you. A low-key email came in from Evan. Received. We should discuss next steps. That night, an envelope was taped to my apartment door in my mom's handwriting. Inside, on lined paper, she wrote, "We love you." We were emotional. Please call us so we can fix this before it goes too far. Love, Mom. For a moment, my chest tightened. I could see her at the kitchen table while Brooke paced and cried, shaping the narrative. My phone buzzed again. Megan sent a screenshot of Brooke's latest post. Sometimes the most dangerous person in a family is the one who controls all the money and punishes you when you don't obey. It read, healing means walking away from people who weaponize their power, even if they share your last name. The comments were packed with hearts and "You go girl." I set my mom's note beside my laptop and opened the folder labeled Family Risk File. Emails, voicemails, advisor notes, screenshots, all arranged in tidy rows. Until now, I had only been closing doors. As I watched the files pile up, I realized defense alone was not enough. If Brooke wanted to create a story where I was the villain, I would respond with something she could not twist, a clear documented account that left her standing alone in the spotlight. The next morning, while I was at my desk, my phone buzzed with a new text from my mom. Just 5 minutes, no arguing. Please. I stared at it. 5 minutes would not undo a voicemail telling me not to come back, but it sounded more like her than anything she had sent in weeks. Call me, I typed. She picked up immediately, and I heard the faint speaker echo. Your dad is here, too, she said. Hey, kiddo, Mark added. You wanted 5 minutes, I said. Mom let out a breath. We messed up, Claire. Saying, you're out. Don't come back. That was extreme. We shouldn't have said it like that. You didn't. I said you said exactly that. She fell silent, then tried again. Your sister told us things. She said that you were planning to cut us out of the LLC, talking to lawyers about removing us from retirement accounts, saying you were tired of carrying us and wanted full control. She said you told her after dinner in the car. None of that ever happened. I said, did you hear those words from me directly? Well, no, Mom admitted. Brooke said you talked in the car on the way back. I took my own car that night, I said. I left solo. There was no car ride. Dad cursed under his breath. Why would she invent that? Mom murmured, but it sounded like she already knew the reason. Maybe because she wanted what I have, I said. If I am unstable and power-hungry, sliding herself into paperwork looks like protecting you, not using you. Dad exhaled. This is beyond family drama now. Evan called. Jason called you. Susan stopped by the house. I know, I said. That's why I'm finished with whispers. We're going to sit down, all four of us, in the same room. No speakerphone, no vague posts. I'll bring documents. You bring everything Brooke told you. Then we see what survives. Do we have to involve lawyers? Mom asked. They're already involved. I said the question is whether they hear Brooke's story first or the evidence. When? Dad asked. Tomorrow 6 at the house. I said if Brooke won't come. That's an answer too. The next night, I walked into my parents' living room with a thick folder under my arm. Same beige couch, same framed school photos, totally different air. My parents sat together on the sofa. Brooke perched in an armchair with a tissue like a prop. She wouldn't look at me. Thanks for coming, Dad said. I set the folder and my phone on the coffee table. Just so we're clear, I said. Nothing about this is off the record in my head. If anyone lies, I won't keep it here. Brooke scoffed. Wow, way to make this hostile. We're family. Then the truth shouldn't scare anyone, I said. Mom wrung her hands. Brooke. Honey, tell Claire what you told us. No, I said. Brooke can speak for herself. Go ahead. Brooke rolled her eyes. I just repeated what you said. She snapped. That you were done carrying everything. That you were thinking of pulling your name off things. That you wanted full control of the LLC so you didn't have to consult them. And this was in the car after dinner, right? I asked. She nodded. Yeah. You were upset. You probably don't even remember. I opened the folder, pulled out a printed statement, and slid it over. That night at Harbor Grill, right? Check the timestamps. Mom's eyes moved down the page. Brooke's rideshare receipt to their house at 10:15. My gas station charge across town at 10:13. Different routes, different cars. I drove myself. I said, you took a car alone. There was no car conversation. Maybe it was another night, Brooke said fast. Before you say that, here's the only other time we all had dinner in the last 3 months, I said, flipping to another printout. That night, you left early to meet friends. I stayed to pay. No private ride then either. Dad leaned back slowly. Brooke, he said quietly. She shrugged. Memory is weird. Okay, I was trying to help. I thought she was serious about needing a break. I laid down the email to Susan next. My withdrawal sent before Brooke's mental health story. Then Susan's reply saying she'd ignore anything that didn't come from me. Then came Jason's note about draft paperwork with my name mentioned but never signed. Then the screenshots of Brooke's posts and Megan's messages. Page after page, it traced a straight line from my voicemail to that couch. Mom finally looked at Brooke. You told us you saw emails, she said quietly. You told us Claire said she was done with us. Brooke straightened her back. So now you just take her side because she printed stuff. She's always been about control. She's twisting everything to make me look insane. Dad locked his gaze on her. The truth doesn't break when you put it next to a receipt. He said yours did. Mom turned to me, and for the first time since that voicemail, I saw something change. We always thought you could handle more. She said, we saw Brooke as fragile, so we protected her and pushed responsibility onto you. And now I am sitting here realizing the only person who has lied to us is the one we told not to come back. Brooke started to speak, but Mom raised her hand. Not this time, she said gently. The word no settled between them, and I felt something inside me finally slide back where it belonged. They had tried to erase me using a script Brooke wrote. Now they were watching that script burn one page at a time, realizing they were seconds from losing the only person who had actually kept everything together. The silence after my mom's words sat there like a fifth person in the room. Brooke shifted in her seat, eyes bouncing between our parents and me, testing which way things were turning. So what now? She snapped at last. You've got your little stack of papers. Congrats, Claire. You happy you made Mom cry? I didn't take the bait. This isn't about anyone crying, I said. It's about consequences. You told me I was out. You tried to force changes behind my back. You told people I was unstable so you could take over things I built. That has to mean more than a sad Facebook post and everyone acting like nothing happened. Dad rubbed his jaw the way he did when he was working through a tough fix. What do you think should happen? He asked. Brooke spun toward him. Seriously, Dad, you're asking her? I held his gaze. You wanted me out of the family business? I said fine. I'll step back from being the default safety net, but that also means nobody gets to quietly use my name, my credit, or my work. Starting with Brooke having zero access to anything I set up. Mom hesitated. Brooke doesn't have access, she began, but I shook my head. Not officially, maybe, I said. But she's been in meetings. She's been in group chats about the triplex. She's been talking to advisors like decisions were already swinging her way. That ends today. Dad exhaled and looked at Brooke. Honey, he said, we need to be clear. No more talking to advisors for us. No more speaking for us. No more pretending that Claire is okay with things when she is not. Brooke blinked hard. So, you're just going to cut me out, she said, voice going high and thin. After everything I have done for you. What exactly is that? I asked, unable to stop myself. The Instagram story about being raised by wolves in the suburbs, or the half-baked business plans you wanted me to fund. Mom flinched, but didn't scold me this time. Mark, she said quietly. Maybe we should make it official. No additional beneficiaries, no shared accounts, no promises we can't keep. We've been saying for years we'd help Brooke start something, pay off this card, co-sign that loan. All it has done is make her think she is entitled to money that isn't there until Claire builds it. I looked at her, surprised at how blunt she was being. Diane turned to me. We want you to rewrite the documents, she said. The LLC, the retirement stuff, all of it. Based on what you think actually makes sense, not what we say in the middle of a fight. I stared at her. You're asking me to take control again after you just told me to get out, I said slowly. She nodded, eyes wet. I'm asking you to do what you have been doing this whole time, she said. Only this time with us admitting you know more than we do. Brooke let out a harsh laugh. Unbelievable. You are handing her everything. You're punishing me because I told the truth about how she treats us. Dad looked at her steadily. The truth would have held up against a gas receipt. He said, yours didn't. That is the difference. For the first time since ID walked in, Brooke looked genuinely shaken. Her eyes flicked to me, searching for some old version of me who might offer a lifeline. I didn't. Mark took a breath. "Here's what we're going to do," he said, falling into the firm tone he used to use at the shop. "Claire, you and Evan and Jason figure out whatever it takes to make the LLC and the retirement accounts bulletproof. You and I remain the only managing members. Your mom is a beneficiary. Brooke is not in any position of control anywhere. If we help her, it will be from our own pockets, not by opening back doors into what you built." Brooke sat forward. "You can't just erase me like that," she said. "I am your daughter, too." My mom winced. "We are not erasing you," she said. "We're stopping pretending money we don't have is going to fall from the sky because we put your name on something Claire made. If we ever help you, it will be because you have a real plan and we can actually afford it, not because we feel guilty." Brooke switched tactics so fast it made my head spin. "Fine," she said, tears welling up. "Then let me prove it, Claire. Give me a small role in the LLC. Let me do social media or something. Let me show you I can contribute instead of just taking." It was almost impressive the way she slid from outrage to pleading to the angle that made her look the most reasonable. A year back, I probably would have bought into it. This time, I recognized the same recycled move. I got to my feet, grabbed my folder. "No," I said flatly, "if you want to show you can build something, you do not do it by plugging yourself into what someone else already built. You do it by starting from zero like I did." My mom glanced from one to the other. "Claire, isn't that a little harsh?" she asked gently. I shook my head. "Harsh was being told I was done and not welcome back," I said. "Harsh was watching my stability turned into a prop for online sympathy. This is just boundaries, Mom. There's a difference." Brooke stared me down. "You are going to regret this," she spat. "You think you can cut me off and walk away clean?" I lifted my phone and slipped it into my bag. "No," I said. "I think I can protect what I earned and stop you from turning my work into your safety net. Whatever happens to you after that is not on me." As I headed out, my dad walked me to the door. "I am sorry," he said quietly. "For the voicemail, for not checking with you first, for letting it go this far." I believed what was easiest to hear. I nodded, a tangled mix of relief and sadness rolling through me. "I know," I said. "But believing the easy story does not mean the consequences are easy, too." Over the next week, things locked into place. Jason sent updated drafts listing only my and Mark's names in control roles. Evan booked a meeting where my parents signed paperwork limiting who could ever access their accounts. I revised the LLC operating agreement to clearly state that no new managing member could be added without unanimous written consent from the existing ones. There was no line where Brooke's name could ever be penciled in later. When the final signature dried, something finally clicked. Not revenge as a flashy moment, but revenge as a framework. A setup where the person who tried to shove me out no longer had any door back in. A few days later, Brooke showed up at my office without warning, eyes swollen and red, asking the receptionist for me. She carried a binder, the kind people use to pitch an idea. I met her in the lobby, arms folded. "I have a business plan," she said, pushing the binder at me. "Events, brand partnerships, influencer collaborations. If you just invest a little, I can pay you back and prove everyone wrong." I didn't take it. "Start it without me," I said. "If it works, you won't need my money. If it doesn't, you'll know why I said no." Her face collapsed, anger and panic fighting for room. "You are really not going to help me," she whispered. "Not after everything." I thought about Daniel's warning, Jason's caution, Megan's screenshots, my mom's note, my dad's quiet apology, that voicemail that kicked this all off. "I'm done helping people set themselves on fire with my gasoline," I said. Snorts, then I turned and walked back through the secured door to my floor, leaving her and her binder and all of her almost on the other side. A month later, I stood in the driveway of a pale brick triplex on the edge of Denver, holding a box of kitchen stuff and watching my parents argue about where to hang a bird feeder. The lower unit was officially theirs, locked in on paper with a clause stating they could stay there for the rest of their lives without anyone interfering. My place sat on the second floor, sunlight pouring in through wide windows. The top unit was already up for rent. All the figures were mapped out in a spreadsheet only I had access to. Mitchell Holdings LLC, the company Brooke once tried to push her way into, was slimmer and tighter. Just me and my dad listed as managing members, my mom named as beneficiary, and more protections than any family mess could crack. No back entrances, no space for twisting meanings. On weekend nights, I would head downstairs and cook with my mom in her new kitchen while my dad flipped on some car show in the living room. We did not replay every single detail, but we stopped acting like money was some hazy mystery no one could grasp. I would open the accounts on my laptop and explain what was actually real instead of what they hoped was real. It was not flawless. There were still heavy moments, still that look of guilt when Brooke's name surfaced. But now, when she texted asking for help with yet another credit card, my mom would show me the message, then place her phone face down and say, "We can't fix this for her. Not this way." From what filtered through cousins, Brooke landed in a small place across town, hopping from gig to gig. Her big event idea never really went anywhere. People started noticing that her stories always needed a villain and an audience. For once, I was neither. I did not take her to court. I did not try to tear her down online. I chose something quieter and to me more precise. I took away the leverage she thought she had and let her live with a life that was hers alone, not supported by my work. I was not mad anymore. I was clear. Clear that trust without limits is just an open invitation for the wrong person to come in and rearrange everything. Clear that being the strong one in a family does not mean letting people turn that strength into a weapon against you. If there is any takeaway here, it is that you can love your family and still refuse to be their safety net when they gamble with the truth. You can forgive without handing the keys back. And if someone ever tells you you're out, don't come back. You are allowed to believe them. Step back and ask yourself a tougher question. What do I stop letting them access from this moment forward? Maybe you have your own version of this story. A moment when someone treated your loyalty like a credit card with no limit. If you do, I hope you learned sooner than I did that saying no is not revenge. It's self-respect. And sometimes that is the one thing worth protecting even more than the house itself.